Everybody, welcome back to the Vinyl Rewind podcast. Today in the studio, I have a very, very special guest, Finn from Love Ghost. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. Appreciate it.
I gotta say, it is a rare treat as a music listener, lover, to see a band like yours grow.
Thank you.
I got to catch you guys. I feel like you were still in high school.
Yeah, that
or at least
sounds
you were
about accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to see how far you've come so quickly and the amount of singles. I mean, I feel like a proud dad, even though.
Oh, thank you. Thank you
not,
very
but
much.
It's really, it was so cool, even in those first few years, to see how much your sound grew.
Thank you. Thank you.
Because I mean, I don't think I was at your first show, but it was, I feel like Troubadour. It was like a showcase, like all ages. You guys probably played like 3 songs or 5 songs.
Yeah.
And I think one of you got in trouble for standing on
the box.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do remember that. Yeah, I do remember that. Was this like what, 2017 maybe?
That sounds right.
Yeah. So yeah, I would have been like a sophomore in high school, and yeah, that was definitely. But still, back then, I was still making music, still trying my hardest, still.
And then at that time you had a violinist.
Yeah, we had a violin player in the band. Actually, it was a viola player.
Oh.
And
Just take my card away.
No, it's all good.
It's hard to tell from the stage.
Yeah, of course.
Small person too. So
yeah. So hell yeah.
So yeah, I remember at that time, and because I just want to back up for the sake of the audience here. So your dad is like one of the top commercial casting agents, and I would often get called in as an actor here in LA, and your dad did what any dad would do, just self-promote his kid's work, and I'd be like, well, who's this band? All right, I'll because I did this channel, I was like, I'm going to support just because like I'm just curious. And then from there, I saw you guys in Echo Park a couple of times. I think you played the Echo once.
Yeah, played the Echo a few times.
And then because like originally I was trying to like understand where you guys were coming from, like genre wise. And I would say like early on, it was definitely felt like there was a lot of grunge influence. A lot of bands, I like Hum. I don't know if Hum was an influence.
Love Hum, yeah.
So
for me.
like I really enjoyed that. But now where you've taken things, it's like infusing a lot of like new metal, hip hop, and then you're collaborating.
A lot. I'm on the collab train hard.
Yeah.
I'm meeting a lot of different artists, because I spend half my time here in LA, my other half of the time I spend in Mexico, and I'm meeting a lot of cool artists down in Mexico and collaborating. I just made a collaborative record. Love Ghost X Skold. I'm kind of like I just I do a lot of features, I do a lot of collabs. I think it's just creative. It's good to meet new artists and kind of bounce ideas off of each other, so I just really like it.
Now in terms of the band, like who does that consist of these days?
Yeah, it's a little bit complicated, but it's basically kind of, I'm singing, I'm playing. I have kind of one band in LA that I'm playing shows with, which usually consists of his name is Danny Gallardo. He's the drummer. Daniel Alcala, he plays guitar, and then he also engineers for me too, as we actually record all of our stuff at home. And Corey Batchelor plays bass. And then in Mexico, I actually have another band, a separate band. Angel plays drums, Aaron plays bass, and then Kevin plays guitar. And I just kind of, because I do so many shows in Mexico, that I kind of just found musicians down there also that I can play shows with. That's and kind of keep it moving. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I can understand how that's complicated, and there's probably scheduling wise.
Pieces. Yeah, it's a lot of scheduling. It's a lot of moving pieces. So I kind of like ditched the idea of having like a typical band per se at a certain point, and kind of just moved on to this other kind of side journey.
Right. So I mean, this is essentially, correct me if I'm wrong, but like sort of a Love Ghost is like the vehicle
Yes.
of your your output. I mean, not that you can't collaborate, which you should give credit, but it moved from like a garage band type situation.
Kind of very much so just like a rock band, just like a DIY kind of garage band playing super grunge influence to more of like a solo-esque project. Yeah.
And tell me a little bit about your strategy for releasing music, because it's, to me as an older person, different generation, it's very different. And I feel like what you're doing is very smart.
Yeah.
So if you can tell us a little bit about that.
Of course, yeah. So basically I'm on a super aggressive release schedule. Actually, like I have over 100 unreleased songs, like enough music to carry me into to 2027 if I just stopped writing songs. Yeah, I'd have enough songs to release until 2027 if I'm still staying on this pace of releasing basically a song or 2 songs a month. And yeah, so it's basically just kind of like I'm basically just treating it like it's a 9-to-5 job. I'm always making content, making videos too if I can. And yeah, basically just like every 2 weeks, I just have like a new thing come out. I release it, and then I keep on promoting it after it's done. And then yeah, so basically I'm just on a super aggressive release schedule, kind of like back in the early 2000s. A lot of like rappers that I admire, that was kind of like a lot of the ways that they changed their surroundings and made a career for themselves in music, is they would just all kind of outwork all the other competition. And I think that was something that kind of stuck with me, is that that phrase of hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. I think I kind of really took that to heart when I was growing up, and I was just like, okay, I just need to write as many songs as I possibly can, make as many cool videos as I possibly can, and kind of just keep on evolving and keep on just working really, really hard.
You touched on like some of your influences. Can you go into that a little bit? Maybe just bullet points, or maybe just give me like 5 records, not necessarily your top 5, but like 5 records that come to mind right now.
Yeah, good question. Golden Age of Grotesque, Marilyn Manson, Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness.
Yes.
Smashing Pumpkins, Dirt, Alice in Chains. One thing about me is I'm not super good with names of albums. I more so remember pictures. Like I remember the pictures of the albums. But what's the Deftones record? Is it Adrenaline? Is that the name of the album? Or actually, White Horse.
I was gonna say,
White Horse is probably the.
I was gonna call it White Pony.
Yeah, or White Pony. Is that what it's? Is it
no, I think you're right.
Okay, I can't remember if it was White Pony.
I don't have any of their albums. So.
But yeah, that record really played a huge influence for me and my sound. And then honestly, I'd probably say "Come Over When You're Sober," Part 1 by Lil Peep. That one too.
Okay, yeah. I like that. It's a good selection, and I definitely hear all of that, especially on this latest release here.
Heck yeah.
So tell me about that. How did this? Now this is. Let's frame this correctly. This is your like first like real album.
Yeah, kind of like where I sat down and I made an album. Sure, I had other like compilations of songs in the past. Lobotomy, which that was like during the days of when you first saw Love Ghost, kind of like as like a grunge kind of garage rock band. But yes, this would technically be the first like Love Ghost album where we sat down and wrote an album.
It's a big deal too, because I remember talking to your dad about it, and like I'm like, when's it gonna come out with an album? And he was like, that's not really his thing right now. Yeah. And they even talking about your release schedule, it makes sense. You're just like constantly, what's next, and to like sit down and maybe do something like that, it might slow you down a little bit.
Yeah, that's true. And then also I just think that now, like being an artist in the age of streaming, it's so much for the algorithm, it's so much easier just to keep on feeding it singles than to feed a whole project. And and sometimes the algorithms aren't as forgiving to full-length projects like that. But here we are with the full-length project with the album right there.
Yeah. So give us the backstory. Like, how did this come to be?
Of course, yeah. So Love Ghost X Skold, it's a collaboration between Love Ghost, my band, and Tim Skold. And actually, Tim Skold was a huge idol for me. I really loved his music. And especially because when I was younger, I was a huge, or still am, a very big Marilyn Manson fan. Then I found Tim Skold. Tim Skold was in Manson's band. He produced some of the records, so I was very familiar with his work. And actually, 2022, at the Viper Room, it was Halloween night, and I saw Tim Skold, right? Very fitting, especially. I love it. There's a lot of goth influence in that record.
Yeah.
And I saw Tim Skold at the Viper Room, and kind of just as a fan, I asked, "Hey, can I take a picture with you?" And I was wearing an Indiana Jones costume because it was Halloween. Yeah, exactly.
I love it.
There's actually still on my Instagram to this day that picture of us hanging out at the Viper Room, and the Indiana Jones costume is still there. But yeah, basically I just asked to take the picture. I posted it up, and then actually his wife / manager, Aaron Skold, saw the picture and kind of listened to some of my music.
Oh, that's so
and
cool.
Was like, oh, this guy's good. Like I like his songs.
Wow.
So then they reached out to me. We met up, we had lunch, and we talked about things, and then we tried to make a song together, and then we didn't try. We did make a song together, which was Payback, which was the first single, and then it got picked up by Metropolis Records, and we just made an entire album together over the next year, and that album is right there.
Yeah.
Love Ghost X Gold. It's 13 tracks, and
perfect.
Heck yeah.
So how did the writing process happen? Did you guys do it in person?
Yeah, we did it all in person. We would like meet multiple times a week. It's all produced by Tim Skold. Some of the songs are co-produced by Daniel Alcala. Some of them are additional production by Corey Batchelor. And yeah, it's pretty. I'm very proud of it. Hell yeah.
I love the color scheme too.
Yeah, green, pink, and yellow. That was actually a lot of Skold's doing. He kind of came up with that idea, but I think it looks great. It's super colorful and bright. Kind of reminds me a little bit of like the Sex Pistols.
I was gonna say, yeah. And we got to talk about. So this is the vinyl edition. Is this the only vinyl edition, or is there other colors available?
This is as far as I know, it's the only available.
Okay.
Fun fact: it is actually glow in the dark.
Love that.
So that's the color. So yeah, it will glow if you listen to it in a dark room. But yeah, it's pretty cool. It definitely I think matches
color,
the futuristic sound some of the songs have.
I know, and I really feel like it does, in a weird way, really match it, because like a lot of the songs are definitely on the darker side, but like a fun dark, I would say.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Again, we were talking earlier how I have a hard time remembering song names. Which one was the first single?
Payback would have been the first single.
Okay, yeah. This is the second song.
Nightshade. Yeah.
When in regards to like not necessarily this album in particular, because I know this was a big collaboration, but when it comes to your own music, like what inspires the writing? And like, let's talk about the lyrics. Yeah. Because we kind of already talked about the music. I mean, there's a lot of influences there. We can hear it, but lyrically.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of time I'm singing about like my own mental health and different traumas that I've been through, or different experiences that I've had, or relationships, etc. But actually with this album, Love Ghost X Skold, I would kind of step outside of my own personal experience and kind of just write about things that were going on in the world, or things that are different stories. Like for instance, there's one track on there called The Heavyweight, which I wrote about like a heavyweight boxer that that's like paid to take a fall by the mob. Oh, wow. Kind of just like the story of just that story. But yeah, there's sort of like, I'd say, I try to keep my inspiration wide and available, whether it's coming from my own personal life, whether it's coming from things that are happening in the world, things that are just happening on the street that I live on. It's just, I think there's
Yeah, well,
a lot of new ways to have creativity.
What do you hope that people get out of your music?
I'd say like a catharsis, you know, like they can kind of feel like they can become someone or something else that's just different. Like sometimes that's kind of what like a lot of my favorite music could do for me. It could kind of transform my life into something that felt more interesting and kind of help me with whatever I was going through. So I just that's what I would hope people would get out of listening to these songs as well.
So now that you've done an album, will you do another one? Like, how was that process for you?
I loved doing it. I thought it was super creative. It was super refreshing from a creative perspective. It felt super fulfilling to sit down and write an entire album. And I think that in the future, I would love to make like concept albums that kind of have like a story and maybe even create like short films to go with them too.
I love that.
And
I
like,
love that idea.
Kind of just create like an entire world. So absolutely in the future, I still have my release of singles coming every month to 3 weeks, but I think that writing a second album with Skold would be awesome. It's in the cards for sure.
Did you find that easier to have like a partner to work with versus by yourself?
So. Okay. I usually, in general, I think that's part of the reason why I like doing so many collabs. When I'm left to my own devices, sometimes I'm a little bit chaotic, or sometimes maybe I might not know the right things to do. So working with other artists, especially an artist like Tim Skold, who has so much experience, was a really great experience.
What was like the biggest thing you learned from that experience?
Honestly, just to trust your creativity and kind of let it lead you. Like there's this concept of kind of like, you know, letting. It's like, did you write the song or did the universe write the song? It's like letting God into the room. It's just like once you get into this kind of creative state where it's almost like you're not fully conscious. It's like your subconscious mind kind of slightly takes over, and those brainwaves are going. Like, 'cause I know there's like Kanye West, for instance, like he only naps, he doesn't sleep because he wants to be in that state of mind where he's like not fully conscious for creativity purposes.
Right.
And I think there's something like to be said about that. And definitely like making this album made me kind of just really trust like, I guess my inner creativity and get in touch with that. Yeah.
Did any of the songs you've already written that are ready to go kind of like influence this record, or maybe like you took parts of it at all?
Wait, can you repeat the question one more time?
You mentioned earlier you have all these songs that are ready to go. Yeah. And I'm just curious, like, I mean, obviously some part of that will influence this, but like, was there any like direct, like, oh, hey, I have this one song, and I have this that's got a cool riff to it. Like, did you do anything like that? Like, there was from that?
Well, yeah, actually, there was one song called Cemetery that it was originally like an acoustic guitar idea and like a synth idea that I had, and I was kind of showing Tim like 4 or 5 like just things that I'd been recording in my bedroom, and he was like, these two are really cool, I want to kind of combine the two of these and create something.
That to me is like the exciting part about the recording process is this like getting inspired, hearing things, hearing what could get in there, and like, you know, transforming a song, or
110%. You know, that's the way to go. That's the way to do it.
It can become a double-edged sword though, because then sometimes you're getting too far into the weeds, like you're messing with it too much. You got to know, you have to have that balance of, okay, when is a song baked and when is it overdone?
That's true. That's true. A lot. I find that like with a lot of like creating music is a lot of balance and kind of finding like the perfect place to express yourself without falling too far into either side.
How did you end up in Mexico? How did that happen?
That's an interesting question. Quite the story. So basically, during the pandemic, I had a song called I'll Be Fine. It was kind of my first song that did well with streaming numbers. It got like 1 million streams.
Congrats, that's awesome.
Cool, yeah. And basically a lot of the comments were in Spanish. Come to Mexico, come to Brazil.
Was this on YouTube?
On YouTube, yeah, exactly. And so I guess 1 million views. But yeah, anyways, so a lot of the comments, yeah, exactly.
Still, that's impressive.
Exactly, hell yeah. And then so basically I was just noticing this and I was like, if I'm kind of getting all this love in Mexico / Latin America, maybe I should focus on it more.
Yeah.
So I started reaching out to artists that were in Mexico. And particularly I made a friendship with this artist named Adon Cruz. And he basically kind of first we made a collab together. It's called Noviembre, and then he kind of invited me down to CDMX to Mexico City, and I was kind of staying with him, playing shows with him, and he was introducing me to all these different artists and producers down there. And then kind of one thing just led to the next, and then all of a sudden I just had all these like connects in Mexico, and I was just playing shows there left and right, and people were coming to the shows, and then I just like literally sometimes life will just kind of open up a doorway for you. So yeah.
How's your Spanish right now?
It's okay. I'm definitely not fluent yet. I do take lessons.
That's
like
awesome.
every week, and I'm trying my best to become more and more fluent. I definitely read the language better than I speak it.
Right.
But yeah, I'm trying my best. I definitely sometimes on Instagram and YouTube and TikTok, I'll release videos of me speaking in Spanish and trying to connect more with the Latin audience.
Yeah. Where's your biggest following right now then?
Mexico. By far. On every platform, it's Mexico.
Looking at who you are, I mean, it's such a great time in your life right now to be doing something like that. I mean, it's just like, yeah, you're really running with it. I really admire that. So
thank you.
It's just as like from person to person.
Oh, that's cool.
You know, I wanted to ask you too a little bit, because I have, not that I have trouble with this, but there are artists that, you know, we all love, but their personal life is maybe not, at least in recent memory, it's not the best, right? So like, how do you separate the art from the artist? Like in particular, like let's talk about Marilyn Manson. I know he's a big influence with you.
Yeah, it's definitely, I mean, at a certain point, obviously, I guess if someone has done something that you like, that you really don't agree with, you take a step back. But I've kind of just always viewed it as like, well, you know, first, I guess it's always a case by case scenario, and I try to look into the facts on both sides and kind of just become a detective. But then obviously I just think that there's a lot of things that you can admire about a person and what they have created. You can admire their art. It doesn't necessarily mean that, you know, you like them as a person or that you want to go hang out with them. And I've kind of just always like had that mindset. And then even like the way that I feel about it too, sometimes I'm just like, well, nobody's perfect, you know, people make mistakes, and so
not that I expect any of you or I to have the answer to this, but it's always good to have that mindful set of, you know, when things come to light, like you said, just take a moment and just I mean, it's just, and also with Marilyn Manson, it's more than just him behind that creative process too. I mean, you talk about Tim, right? He worked with him, so it's not like I don't know.
It's moving pieces for sure.
Yeah. So a lot of my viewers, they're big fans of classic rock, especially like the Beatles. And I noticed you picked Tommy as like
Who.
Can we talk about like
of course,
like maybe like why that album jumped out for you within my collection?
Yeah, so for a few reasons. First of all, when I saw the movie when I was like way too young, when I was like 5 or something like that, and it definitely like honestly it's a pretty disturbing movie. Like there's a lot of kind of bizarre concepts,
a lot of fisheye lenses,
that too, and then just like abuse and like weird like kind of things are going on.
What is it even about?
It's just about like basically it's about like a guy that's kind of like disabled, and everyone's like really mean to him, and then he becomes
a pinball wizard,
the best pinball player in the world. It's kind of it's an underdog story basically. But I don't know, that movie definitely had a big effect on me, and especially that album too. And The Who was one of my first ever favorite rock bands, or just bands in general. Baba O'Reilly. Actually, when I was a kid, I always thought that The Who well, I like the Who more than the Beatles. That was always like my thing.
Oh.
Yeah, I chose like, yeah, hot take. I was always more into the Who than the Beatles. I like their music more. I like their aesthetic more. But I mean, and I love the Beatles, absolutely.
Well,
but,
no,
yeah.
I get that. I can kind of see that through line as a wee little fan, you know, being attracted to their edge.
Exactly. I like their edge. I like Tommy the movie.
Yeah.
Just all of it. It's just such a fever dream, and it's abstract, and it's cool. You know, definitely that's a movie / record that will make you feel something. It'll make you feel many different things.
Yeah.
It'll make you feel confident. It'll make you feel paranoid. It'll make you feel disturbed. It'll make it it takes you on a journey, which I like.
Did you ever get into Quadrophenia?
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. All the Who records were played a big. I love them. Yeah.
What about Pink Floyd?
I didn't like have a super big Pink Floyd phase like I did with the Who, but I definitely always liked Pink Floyd, and I thought, you know, they're undeniable. Yeah, undeniable.
For me, there's like Tommy, and then there's The Wall. Like they feel so like kindred films in a sense.
Yeah, exactly. It's just kind of part of that sort of like, so, you know, they're both just super creative films that are kind of musically driven and
rock operas.
Rock operas, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it would be cool to make a rock opera.
I kind of wish we would get more of those and less of these biopics, you know?
Right? I haven't seen Better Man yet, but I want to see it. I like how that's with Robbie Williams.
Oh, this is the monkey chimp.
Yeah, but he's a chimp in it, which I thought that was
cool
creative. Yeah, it's something different.
Or the Pharrell Lego.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or just a little twist, because I don't know, sometimes with the music biopics, it's kind of like, especially like me, like as a super fan, like I kind of know exactly what's going to happen.
Right.
Or about an artist that I really like, but yeah.
I think I hit a saturation point after the Queen one, and like I have no interest in watching the Bob Dylan.
You have no interest in watching it?
Well, yeah, I guess no.
Yeah, I mean, you do not like Bob?
I do like Bob, but at this point, I would rather have what?
Oh no, I was just wondering.
No, I would rather like watch a documentary. You know, watching the Weird Al biopic. Like, I don't. Did you watch that one?
I did watch it. Yeah,
that was hilarious.
I loved it.
I loved how it just.
And I like how also like part of it, he starts like dating Madonna, and all these things weren't real, just sort of like happening. Like it's very on brand for Weird Al.
Exactly, like that. And then there's the Dewey Cox movie, which was older, but I still love that one. You know, I'm just more. The Elton John one I did enjoy because that's
a really good movie.
It felt more like a rock opera in a sense that it just kind of music really carried it around, and it wasn't like overtly dramatic. There were dramatic moments, but and like I've been on record and saying I like the Elvis biopic. I did enjoy, especially the first 30 minutes. I really enjoyed. I really enjoyed Baz Luhrmann's visual style and his palette and stuff. But it did drag on a bit.
There's a lot of good biopics out there, and some that maybe aren't. Really.
Well, yeah, and then there's a bunch that like no one ever talks about. Like there's that Jimi Hendrix one with Andre 3000. There's that Bob Marley one that
there's a Jimi Hendrix one with Andre 3000. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, it wasn't authorized, so they couldn't use any of the music.
Oh, so they just kind of made music that sounded sort of similar.
I didn't see it. I couldn't tell you. But I hear it's not great.
Well, I gotta check it out. That sounds cool.
I know you weren't as a young lad drawn to the Beatles as much, but do you have a favorite Beatles album at this point?
Probably Sgt. Pepper.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's probably like my favorite Beatles record. I mean, yeah, I definitely love the Beatles for sure, but I think I just liked the Who more. But
yeah.
I definitely
why Sgt. Pepper's?
So, but I think that Sgt. Pepper for me was, I don't know. I just like the aesthetic. I like the outfits. I like, so I think that Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds and just that whole like,
right,
acid trip of visuals and songs were just really interesting to me.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Oh yeah, let's talk about Kendrick Lamar a little bit.
Kendrick Lamar.
I mean, what a talent.
Exactly. You can't go wrong with Kendrick Lamar. So, I mean, honestly, that To Pimp a Butterfly, that record, just when I was in ninth grade, I would listen to it a lot. I think my favorite song off of it was probably King Kunta, because I also had a bone to pick with a lot of people. So, you know, I related to that lyric. But yeah, I mean, honestly, Kendrick Lamar is just such a great storyteller, such a great rapper. He's so talented. He's so yeah, I'd say like just that record definitely for like 3 months after it came out, I was probably just listening to it every day.
Yeah.
When I was like 15 or 14. So it was just something that stuck with me.
What did you think of his latest album?
Actually, I mean, I really liked it. I think I only listened to it once. I think I needed to kind of give it like another another listen, because like I couldn't say like what my favorite song is, or but it's obviously it's really good, and I think everything he does is just really, really, really high quality.
And then you also pulled from my collection Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, the original soundtrack album.
Yeah, so I mean, honestly, the first reason why I grabbed it is because a lot of people tell me that I look like Alex Winter, and I have kind of that like stoner-y vibe. So like people just like, I don't know, I just think that like I get told a lot like, hey, like you look like Bill, but Bill is Alex Winter, and then Ted is Keanu Reeves. Yeah, so I don't know, I just like, it's a fun movie. It's honestly, like, I don't know if I really like remember the
There's
music.
some good songs on there.
Actually, no, the music was cool. Yeah, it was like rock, and it was exciting, and it's just like a movie that's fun and funny.
As a kid, I thought the music was heavier than it actually is.
That's what I remember it. I remember it being like very like, yeah, brother, rock and roll.
Because they like reference Iron Maiden and like, well, Bon Jovi, but Bon Jovi's not really that very heavy. Yeah, but it's just funny listening to it. It's like when you're well versed in music, you're like, oh, all right. They picked like, there's a lot of shredding. There's some songs with some shredding on there.
There's a lot of like solo kind of moments.
So it's more like on the glammy side than it is actually hard rock.
Definitely 80s vibes.
And then speaking of 80s, you picked out my copy of the Princess Bride soundtrack, Mark Knopfler.
Yeah.
What drew you to this one?
I mean, same thing, honestly. I just love that movie, The Princess Bride. I just love like fantasy in general. And, you know, it's a beautiful soundtrack. It's a really good movie. And, you know, one of my favorite movies. So I was just like, might as well just pick it out. You know? Looks, it's pretty aesthetically pleasing.
I know, it's one of my favorites too. What's crazy about this, if I'm remembering, I think it was all digital recording, which was rare for that time.
Yeah, for that time.
And I think it's all synth based. You can hear like, oh yeah, those aren't actually horns.
Really?
Those are like samples.
That's sick.
And then we got Pink Moon.
Pink Moon by Nick Drake.
Beautiful album.
When I was younger, I got really into Elliott Smith. Still one of my favorite songwriters of all time. After my Elliott Smith phase, I found Nick Drake, particularly this album, Pink Moon. I think my favorite song off of it is Parasite. I also just really like the name and kind of like the concept in general of Parasite. There's a lot of stuff to play with that, but yeah, it's a great record. Nick Drake is, you know, one of the OG sad boys, not the sad boy, and as a fellow sad boy, I've always respected the hustle, and he's cool. Drake's very cool. Speaking of sad boys, actually,
good segue.
Another fellow sad boy,
beautiful
Jeff Buckley,
record.
Grace. absolutely beautiful vocals, guitar playing. Fun fact, actually, I discovered Jeff Buckley because I would go to an after-school music program called School of Rock, where we would like learn different songs and like perform them. And I played guitar on Hallelujah, so I knew how to I know how to play it on guitar, that song, and that kind of, I was like, this song is so great, I need to listen to the whole record. And then I kind of just kept on listening to Jeff Buckley's music, and it's just so good. I mean, all these songs really, between like So Real and Mojo Pin, Last Goodbye, Eternal Life, Dream Brother, like it's really just a great album in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's one of the great, I don't want to call it great, but it's one of the true tragedies that we were robbed of any more music by him.
Yeah, it was definitely pretty spooky the way that he passed away. It was the same manner in which his father died, right? Yeah. In like in the river, there's definitely some supernatural stuff going on with Jeff Buckley and with his music, for sure. Yeah, I think that definitely, like, for me, that was kind of like always like that was kind of like the reason why I started writing music in the first place, was because I would always turn to music whenever I felt depressed or anxious, and it was kind of always there for me. It was like the older brother that I never had, and then eventually I kind of just decided that I wanted to replicate that experience for other people. So that was kind of like, I think that music is very therapeutic in a lot of ways, and it's very so yeah.
Quick rundown here on Instagram, YouTube, obviously Spotify, all the music.
Yeah, Apple
streamers.
Music. Yeah, just pretty much all those platforms, TikTok, whatever you want. Just
Awesome.
look up Love Ghost and it should come up.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, Finn, thank you so much for making the time.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, dude, it's been great to chat and to get to know you better, and to really, I'm grateful to be able to showcase your music, man. Yeah,
I'm grateful thank you so much for this opportunity, for being on the show, and hope I have some cool stories.
Oh, yeah, definitely. All right, everybody, thank you all so much for watching. I'm Revival Geek, and I'll catch you on the flip side.